Hello everyone, my name is Dominic Demore, and I want to thank you for tuning in to the second, possibly third best thing you've heard all week, depending if you listened to our last episode. We have a great show for you today that includes the latest movie news and our random thoughts and opinions, ranging from insightful to downright obnoxious. This is the I've Had Better Movies podcast. Let's kick it off. James, what's our first news story of the day?
The first story is a very exciting one. It is, The Wrap has confirmed that Hail Caesar star Alden, I mess this up every time. Do you know how to actually say his last name?
Ehrenreich.
Ehrenreich. Alden Ehrenreich. Oh, that sounds so much easier now. Has been officially cast as young Han Solo in the Star Wars story, set to be directed by Phil Miller and Chris Lord, set to begin production January 2017 and hit theaters in 2018.
Yeah, this is a big casting news. James and I have talked about it for a couple of different episodes now. They are tested over 1,000 different actors. There were some of the biggest names in Hollywood. The young actors came out to test, like Dave Franco, Miles Teller, Taron Egerton,
the guy
from Kingsman, who was rumored to be the leader for a while. But I have to admit, I do not hate this casting.
No, I kind of love it.
Yeah, he's not incredibly well known, which
is good for them.
Yeah, and Star Wars tends to cast non-well known actors. Like Harrison Ford was a set painter or something when he first got cast, and so I'm actually looking forward to it. I think the kid's a good actor. I want to see him in something else before. I might have to look up some of his older stuff because, to my knowledge, I don't think he has anything coming out before this would come out because he was just in Hail Caesar. And he had that little bit of a goofy accent in this film. So
he's got a untitled Warren Beatty project and The Yellowbirds.
What's The Yellowbirds?
Un momento, por favor. Two young soldiers, Bartle, 21, and Murph, 18, navigate the terrors of Iraq war under the command of the older, troubled Sergeant Sterling. All the while, I don't know how you say that. Bartle. Bartle is tortured by a promise he made to Murph's mother before their deployment.
Interesting. All right. Well,
Jennifer Aniston.
Oh, nice.
Ty Sheridan. Toni Collette. Some big names.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I want to see him do more things, and this is definitely something that I can get behind. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. I think he needs to be a little more well-known for it to be maybe not, because Daisy really wasn't, she was a nobody.
Yeah, very true.
So it could go either way.
Yeah, it all depends on how well the audience, I don't even think it's how well they receive this guy as Han Solo. I just wonder how receptive the entire community is to a Han Solo movie. You're going to learn a lot by how well Rogue One does, because it's not going to be too Jedi heavy, and personally, my favorite part of Star Wars films are Jedis. I'm not a huge Han Solo fan. I'm a Luke fan. I'm a Vader fan. I'm a Kylo Ren fan. I'm now a Rey fan. So it'll be interesting. I hope the movie does well. We have a long time before it comes out, unfortunately. Not going to come out for 2 years. But the director team behind it, Miller and Lord, they've done some really good stuff in the past, and I put my total faith behind them. I think their casting choice was solid.
Yeah, I don't really see them messing this up. There's a lot of ways they can take it, and I think Disney's going to do well.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. All right, so on to our next story. Although, let us know what you guys thought of the casting. Do you like Alden Ehrenreich? Are you a fan of his? Have you seen more of his movies than we have? Let us know on Twitter, or you can contact us on Facebook, or just send us a good old email to ihbpodcast@gmail.com. All right, our next story has to do with Marvel's Infinity War. The Russo brothers, who directed both Winter Soldier, Civil War, and are scheduled to direct both parts of the Infinity War, were recently at a screening of their film for Civil War and had a Q&A afterwards where they mentioned Miss Marvel by name. Not an actress per se, but the actual character, which led a closely paying attention to fan in the audience to ask a follow-up question. So did you just confirm Miss Marvel being in Infinity War. This has been something that's been rumored, but not have been actually officially made yet. So this little slip up by the Russo brothers could mean that we're going to get a Miss Marvel in Infinity War. James, as not a huge comic book fan, what do you know of the character? / are you excited?
Of course I'm excited. Anytime they can bring in a new character, I think it's a good thing. I don't know much at all. All I know is her name was Carol Danvers.
One of them, yes. And that is the one that is rumored to play in this cinematic universe. She's arguably the most famous.
Right, so powers. What she got?
She has super strength. She can fly, things like that. I'm not extremely familiar with her either. She has played a large role in certain comics, and there's been a lot of casting rumors with her lately. Personally, I'm excited to see it just because it's going to be nice to see another female hero into Infinity War.
I agree.
Fairly male-dominated, but they do have Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy. They've got Scarlet Witch, they've got Black Widow, and they're going to be introducing the Wasp in Ant-Man and the Wasp. So, looking forward to that kind of stuff. And casting is going to be fairly interesting.
Who do you think they're going to...
I honestly have no idea. For a long time, Emily Blunt was rumored, but this was like 2 years ago. And then before...
Ronda Rousey?
Yeah. Before Ronda Rousey lost her championship and was no longer undefeated, there were a lot of people saying, like, oh, Ronda Rousey should be Miss Marvel because they do look semi-alike. I mean... They're both athletic looking and a little bit chesty and blonde, but in no way, shape, or form is Ronda Rousey a good enough actress to pull this off. So
no.
That has to go away.
I don't think Marvel would even do something like that.
Yeah. A couple years ago, people were talking about Alice Eve as a possibility. She looks fairly similar to that, but I don't think she can do the action. If they were doing it right, and who I would want cast is Rebecca Ferguson from Mission Impossible 4 Ghost Protocol.
I like it. As long as she can...
Rogue Nation, not Ghost Protocol.
The newest one.
Yes, exactly.
They've made so many, it's hard to keep track.
It's not even number 4. Jesus, it's number 5. Wow.
Yeah.
There's so many of those movies.
Yep.
But yeah, I think she's perfect for the role. We know she can handle the action. She's a good actress.
I think she's got to bulk up a little bit.
Maybe a little bit, yeah. But at the same time, like, she was pretty she was athletic and trim looking. And,
that's just nitpicking.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. The character is kind of like a space cop-esque kind of thing. So, and she was in the Air Force when she was a human. So think a little bit like Green Lantern from DC. But don't think about it too hard because that movie was bad.
Yeah, I might get upset thinking about that.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if she turns up. And if the Russos did this on purpose or just literally let it slip.
Yeah, who knows?
All right, James, what's our next topic?
The Avengers Infinity War Part 1 and 2 have been retitled.
Yes, speaking of Infinity War.
We are not sure what they're going to be called yet. Tom, how do you feel about it?
I like it. Rumors that I'm hearing is they'd seen how movies in the past have done this. They've where it's been like, okay, we have part 1 of a film, and then people see part 2, like Mockingjay. How
Mockingjay, Harry Potter.
Mockingjay did part 1 and part 2, and they think it threw some people off. Like, oh man, like why bother go see the first one because you know the second one's going to have all the important stuff, or they see the first one and they're like, I don't even bother seeing this. So they're going to give each their own individual titles, which is smart from a marketing standpoint. It's a good
move. Like, very good move.
Yeah, you're going to go into it and see Avengers. I think I wouldn't be surprised if one of them keeps Infinity War. It could be like the first one could be Infinity War, and the second one could be like Infinity Gauntlet, or the first one could be Infinity Gauntlet, and the next one could be Infinity War. So they haven't announced what it's going to be yet. We'll keep you guys posted on that. But what are your thoughts on it?
I'm okay with it. I think it needs to be done. I don't want another part 1 and part 2. I'm getting tired of it.
Yeah. I mean, and they've gone that way with the other movies so far. Like, aside from Iron Man, none of the other ones have been. Like, it wasn't Thor 2, it was Thor the Dark World. It wasn't Captain America 2, it was Captain America the Winter Soldier.
Yep.
And then Guardians of the Galaxy is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, but that's a play on the whole mixtape thing, so
yeah,
you get away with that.
That one I'm okay with.
Yeah, and then Ant-Man's going to be Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's not Ant-Man 2, so it makes sense that they're going this direction, just from a pure marketing standpoint.
Yep, I agree.
Let us know what you guys would want to see as the title of the film. If you have some great idea, if you're a comic book fan, or even if you just watch the movies, I'm sure something you guys could suggest would fit just as well. And the plus side, it can't be any worse than Spider-Man Homecoming.
Agreed.
So how about you
Still a bad title after seeing Spider-Man.
It really is. So why don't you guys use the hashtag IHB movies and then just say IHB movies and then insert your title after that. Or hit us up on our Facebook wall at the I've Had Better podcast page. The Hollywood Reporter recently released a story saying that rising comedy stars Kate McKinnon from SNL, Jillian Bell of 22 Jump Street fame, and Lana Glazer from the critically acclaimed Broad City are in talks to join Scarlett Johansson in the raunchy R-rated comedy Rock That Body, which follows the story of 5 friends who rent a beach house in Miami for a bachelorette weekend gone wrong. James, what are your thoughts on this film?
All the women in it are beautiful. So in that aspect, I'm okay with it. I think it's probably going to be a crappy movie, but people will go see it because it is a movie with some beautiful women that is rated R.
Yeah, I, unfortunately, James, am going to disagree with you. Not on the fact that any of these women aren't unattractive, but I'm not looking forward to this movie, actually. I like the idea of Scarlett Johansson being in it, but I'm not a huge fan of the comedy style of any of these other actresses. They're a little bit too goofy comedy for me.
Kate McKinnon, for sure.
Yeah, Kate McKinnon's very goofy comedy.
Unless she's playing Ellen DeGeneres, I really don't want to see it.
Yeah. Lana Glazer, who I don't watch Broad City. I hear great things. I did see her in the Seth Rogen, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Anthony Mackie Christmas film from this past winter. She had a small part in that, and she was funny, but her character's very over the top. She has a insane sex scene in the dirty bar bathroom, and she jumps off the top of a building like Hans Gruber from Die Hard. So it'll be interesting the way they go. This is more of a personal preference. I just don't really like the insane out there comedies. I want a little bit more grounded feel. And so far, I just don't get this just from the read. I could be completely wrong, and if it turns into something like Tom Hanks' Bachelor Party from back in the 80s, haven't you ever seen that movie?
No.
Oh, it's a classic. It's honestly hilarious. They bring in a donkey for a sex show, and it does a bunch of drugs, and it dies. And I guess it's before Tom Hanks was like the beloved like American Pie star that he is now. So
I'll tell you what, I am excited to see Zoe Kravitz in a more comedic role.
Oh, is she gonna be in this movie?
Yeah. Well, that's what IMDb says. Who knows if it's actually true?
Mm-hmm.
Because in the Insurgent, right?
The Insurgent, Divergent, Allegiant.
Allegiant was the newest one, right?
Yes, it was. Next one, I think, is called Detergent. Downy Extra Soft.
I don't think it's detergent.
Yeah, it might as well be. They all need a good scrubbing after those movies.
Yeah. Which I thought she had some funny lines.
Yeah, no, yeah, she did it. She did it well, and if she is indeed cast in that movie, this will definitely make me more interested. It's just these names in particular, aside from Scarlett Johansson, who I think can do comedy very well, I don't have a whole lot of hope. Out of all of them, though, Lana Glazer is probably the one that I'm most intrigued to see, because I think she's going to keep going and going and going and become a huge star eventually.
Yep. Next up, we have the recently announced Spider-Man film, according to Collider.com, and Kevin Feige, will take place after Civil War and not include a redone origin story. Domsky, how do you feel?
I like it. I think to this point in the movie, we've seen the origin story done twice now, and they go back and they touch on it in every one of the movies anyways. So realistically, we've heard the story 5 times.
And it hasn't changed much at all.
Little variations, but overall, there's no real need to. I mean, and they could do something like they did for Batman vs. Superman. Say what you want about that movie, but they didn't go head on into the Batman storyline. They didn't go and spend 20 minutes on Batman's parents dying. It was a quick like montage of moments to open the film, and they were beautifully shot, so nobody really cared. And they went back and they talked about it a couple times, but it wasn't anything egregious.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, and I fully expect something like that to happen in this movie.
It's a smart decision on their part. It'll give them more time to develop the characters instead of giving us something that we've already seen.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I fully expect... I wouldn't be surprised if Peter doesn't keep his secret to himself about being Spider-Man in this film. He might tell one of his friends, like, I don't know this for a fact. This is purely me guessing, but the Zendaya character, I think her name is Michelle or something like that. Like, she could become a confidant for Peter, and he gives some halfway explanation like, well, there's this spider, it bit me, and then I woke up and I had these powers and I didn't know what to do, so I just like went out and I did it, and now I'm a superhero. Like,
yep.
That's all you need. Like, they don't need to go over and over it again.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah. Although, I wonder have they announced who was cast as Uncle Ben?
I don't think so.
That's all I want to know. Who is tapping at me?
Oh, you lucky son of a bitch. Nope.
Yeah.
Just Tom Holland, Robert Downey Jr., Marissa Tomei, Zendaya, Tony Revolori, and Laura Harrier.
Yeah, so I think it's a good idea. No need to rehash something they've gone over and over.
Yeah, another smart move by Marvel. They're killing it.
Okay, on to our next story. Again, delving into the semi-superhero world, Entertainment Weekly has released the first images of the new Power Rangers suits that have been described as translucent extraterrestrial armor that crystallizes around the Rangers' bodies. Now, about a week or two ago, we saw the first images of Elizabeth Banks as Rita Repulsa. So, what do you think of these new Ranger images?
Elizabeth Banks looks awesome. I'm okay with it. But the new Power Ranger outfits kind of look okay. I mean, some of them look like Iron Man, which is a little weird.
Yeah, a little bit.
I guess the red one probably mostly does. But the black one looks pretty badass.
Yeah.
And I'm actually okay with the green one. Or is it olive? I don't know what to call the color. It's like a martini olive color.
That's yellow, Chief.
Is that yellow? Doesn't look yellow at all. It's like
it looks absolutely yellow.
It doesn't look yellow.
Looks absolutely yellow.
No.
Don't you occasionally have to paint things? Like, how can you ever be trusted with a brush?
I'll slap you silly, son. That is not yellow.
It is absolutely yellow.
That is not yellow. The IMDb logo is yellow.
The IMDb logo is gold.
That's not yellow. I'm still sticking to it.
All right. My thoughts on the uniforms. I'm not a huge fan of the suits themselves, particularly the women's uniforms. The breastplate armor is just way too much. Like, I don't need my girls popping out.
This is a little much.
Yeah.
I really don't know what else to say. I do like the yellow, though.
All right, on to the next topic.
According to multiple sources, and now the actor himself, Russel Crowe, will be joining Universal's Connected Monster Universe film, The Mummy, as Dr. Henry Jekyll of the famed Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde story. Not much is known about the size of the role yet, as it was first reported to be a cameo, but Crowe has said he had extensive conversations with the director, Alex Kurtzman, so who knows. The other thing with Russel Crowe is he's kind of crazy, if you guys haven't noticed.
Just a bit.
So he probably, forced Alex Kurtzman to be like, no, you're going to give me a bigger role, or I will make this movie a living hell for you.
Yeah, it's, the Universal movie cinematic universe is quickly growing to be insane. Like, you wonder how much of their resources they're devoting to these films, because you've got giant stars like Tom Cruise in The Mummy. Now Russell Crowe's joining The Mummy, and I assume he's going to get his own spin-off movie at some point. Then you're going to get Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man in 2018, or 19, one of the two. I think 2018. And then there's also been rumors that they're going to do a Wolfman film, and there's going to be a Bride of Frankenstein film, and for a while they were circling Angelina Jolie for that role. So we're talking big name stars inside this universe.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice for them to just go with bigger stars, because they tend to be more expensive, instead of going more like Star Wars route and going someone lesser known for cheaper.
Mm-hmm. Something interesting I thought Crowe had talked about is that this movie is much more horror based than we initially thought. Like it's not going to be like an action thriller. Crowe says it's designed to scare the shit out of you. So that's something interesting that I didn't initially see it going that way, but it definitely harpers back to the original films themselves, because they were made as horror / scary movies at the time, because there wasn't really any horror back then. But
yeah, it'll be interesting to see him play that role.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's something he's ever really done off the top of my head.
Trying to think of all the time. I mean, he hasn't played a villain very often.
I picture him as Gladiator for some reason.
Yeah, I mean,
3:10 to Yuma. Was he a villain?
He was like an anti-hero in that film.
Yeah, more of like a Robin Hood figure.
Wouldn't go that far. Like, you're rooting for him by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, it's an interesting career turn, and I look forward to it. He's a great actor, and I think he can really do something with the role, because it's interesting. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde has got to be one of those semi-dream roles for an actor, because you get to play two sides of a coin and go, like, completely bonkers one way and then go back the complete opposite way in another scene. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. In X-Men Universe news, director Josh Boone took to Instagram last week to give the fans insight into which mutants would be starring in his adaptation of X-Men: The New Mutants. And they are as follows: Magic, Wolfsbane, Mirage, Cannonball, Sunspot, and Warlock. Arya Stark herself, Maisie Williams, has been reported for a role, but as of yet it is unclear which mutant she will play. James, do you know anything about the New Mutants, and what do you think of their characters?
No, I know nothing about these people.
Yeah, a lot of people don't, including me, who is a comic book fan. The New Mutant is not something that's up my alley.
I'm okay with it because I think new characters are always a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I worry because these are so out of left field that no one's really going to care.
Yeah, I mean, you're relying pretty heavily on just the X-Men name here because...
Yeah. Or depending on who they get to play these characters.
Yeah, but I mean, they're all supposed to be fairly young, like teenager-ish, and like...
Which is going to be tough for them.
Yeah, and there's a lot of characters to fill there. There's not a whole lot of talent at that age range to pick from. I mean, you already picked off some of the big ones for X-Men Apocalypse at this point.
Yeah.
So
they might have to rely on the script heavily.
Yeah.
And
imagine that. A movie might actually have to rely on a good script.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. The character I'm most interested in out of all of these is the character Magic. Her powers have been described as... she can teleport through both space and time. She has the ability to wield magic. She can grow this magic armor. And she has a weapon called the Soul Sword, which is
Sounds
literally...
badass.
Yes, it does. It's the physical embodiment of her soul in a weapon. So I think that'll be interesting. And I thought I heard a rumor about that's what character Maisie Williams will be playing. But I also may have heard a rumor that she was circling Wolfsbane, who... is essentially a werewolf.
Not as cool. Not as glamorous.
Yeah, but it's still kind of cool because she can go from human to werewolf, or from human to wolf / be a version in between. So she could be human, werewolf form, or she could be a straight wolf.
Yeah, but she doesn't have a soul sword.
Very true. Very true.
It sounds like one of the coolest swords ever.
It really does.
Deadline has reported that the Martin Scorsese film, The Irishman, is actually going to happen. It has a pretty serious cast, at least the first three people.
I would say so.
Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Joe Pesci. I'm going to pause for a minute and let you guys think about that. Holy shit, is this actually going to happen?
Yeah, no, that's insane.
Supposedly, the story is based on a Charles Brandt book, I Heard You Paint the Houses, which is supposed to be the story of the disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa. Dom, how do you feel?
I mean, if that cast is true, / even if it's not, like just because of the fact that it's Scorsese, I'm excited for it. But what was the last time we even saw Joe Pesci in a movie?
Well, I mean, if you're counting Snickers commercials, pretty recent.
I actually don't, believe it or not, count.
Well, that's a damn
Snickers commercials.
Love Ranch.
Yeah.
2010.
That was a long time ago. And before that, it was The Good Shepherd. Like, the last time he was in a big movie.
Lethal Weapon 4.
Yeah.
98.
Yeah, so that's pretty insane. And if it gets him back on the screen, then I'm all for it. Because I love Joe Pesci. And then just the idea of getting these three actors together again, like, it's going to be great. You do worry a little bit because Pacino hasn't been in a good movie in a long time.
They're all aging.
Yeah, and De Niro hasn't done a great non-comedic role in a long time. So you worry about that. But at the same time, the concept sounds cool.
I mean, has a movie ever touched base on Hoffa at all?
I mean, there was an entire movie called Hoffa. So
Jack Nicholson was Hoffa.
Yeah, so it's definitely piqued my interest, and I would go see this. I mean, just look at the rundown that Pesci and De Niro have. I mean, you got Casino, you got Goodfellas, like two of the greatest films of all time in the gangster genre. A Bronx Tale, which is a movie I personally love, that De Niro directed. So there is definitely a strong track record for everybody involved here, and I'm excited to see what they do with it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. This is definitely something I want to see because Goodfellas and Casino are probably in my top 8 movies.
Yeah.
I could
Casino
watch those.
That high?
Oh yeah, I love Casino. I could watch that movie at any point and finish watching it. It was on Stars for like probably 3 years, and anytime it was on, I'd sit there and watch the rest of it. Same thing with Spy Game.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I love that movie. Robert Redford. Bradley Pitt, young Bradley Pitt.
Who calls Bradley Pitt?
Who
says Bradley Pitt?
I do.
I don't even think his mother calls him Bradley Pitt.
Oh, she absolutely does.
All right, in our second to last story of the day, we return to the world of superheroes and specifically to the world of Warner Brothers and DC, as it's just been announced that Ben Affleck, Batman himself, will be given a larger role in the creative department as the films go forward. He's been upgraded to executive producer, meaning that he, writer Chris Terrio, and Zack Snyder will all give their input on what direction they think the film should go. James, what do you think of Batfleck getting a larger role in creative decisions?
I'm happy. Very excited for it because I feel like he's going to bring in that actual movie sense to what Batman vs. Superman was lacking with Snyder and who was the other guy?
Chris Terrio.
I just don't know if they've had enough movie experience.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Terrio won an Oscar for Argo. At least I know the picture did. I don't know if the actually writing did. But
which he was with Ben Affleck.
Yes.
Their team. They need to be together.
Well, they were together on Batman v Superman.
Yeah, but what did Ben Affleck do in that one?
I mean, I guarantee
I'm sure he had some input.
I'm sure he had a decent amount. I'm sure this is just like I wouldn't be surprised if this is a little bit of a PR move because people are like, okay, we know Affleck can make a good movie. Like, if we tell everybody that now he's an executive producer, people are going to have more faith in it because they're like, well, maybe they're giving Zack Snyder less to do. But in all honesty, I don't think it's going to be having that much effect on everything overall. If anything, I bet you the Batman movie itself will benefit from it, but Justice League-wise, I don't see a huge benefit.
Unless he's read up on all the comics.
Well, Ben Affleck has read up on all the comics. But at the same time, Snyder, you have to assume, is a prideful guy. Like, he's like, how would you feel if somebody came into your work and was like, hey, you know what? I know how to do drywall too, and that one's probably not right. Why don't we do this? Well, I was already started kind of doing this. Well, yeah, but this is better.
I'm sure it hurt his ego a little bit.
Yeah,
but when you have a product that doesn't really do as well as you hoped for, it kind of happens.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to have as big of an effect.
Possibly.
Yeah, like maybe at most it'll give a film like a half an apple advantage.
I mean, yeah, but that takes... What would you rate Batman for? 6 or 5?
Somewhere it was higher than that. I think it might have been 6.5.
Yeah, well, 7's
still not a great number.
No, it's better.
Yeah. I think it actually was a 6.8, but yeah. So, like I said, I think it's just mainly just a change in title, and probably they paid Ben a little bit more money.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so I don't think it's anything to get too excited for, but at the same time, I don't think it'll hurt the film at all.
Yeah, I'm sure they're only looking to better the next one.
Mm-hmm. All right, James, what's our last topic of the day?
Arnold Schwarzenegger set to star in Taron Killam's directorial debut, Why We're Killing Gunther, the story of a group of eccentric assassins who become fed up with Gunther, the world's greatest hitman, who happens to be an arrogant show-off, and decide to kill him. Colby Smulders and Killam are also set to star. Dom?
No, it's nice to see that Arnold's returning to that world of humor. I think while as he gets older, that'll really be his kind of a niche area. As he gets fewer and fewer of those like high intensity action roles, you can see he's still a funny guy. Like he knows he has great comedic timing, and his accent will always be funny at certain moments. So I'm looking forward to it. Actually, I'm not a big Taron Killam fan. I don't find him particularly funny, and I think he's honestly overused in SNL. I think he plays the same character over and over. So I don't have a lot of faith in him. But seeing as he's the director, I'm hoping they take like a bit of a backwards seat on that. But Colby Smulders is cool. Yeah. I have zero faith in her to do this comedy, though, because I don't see her in...
She wasn't very funny in How I Met Your Mother. I mean, she had points.
Yeah.
But overall, not a funny character.
And even then, like...
And
comedy in a sitcom is way different than in the movies. Like, granted, she played the more straight and non-funny character in Delivery Man, but that wasn't a great movie, and she hasn't really had a hit in the movie world aside from obviously like Avengers, but she's a sub-character in that at best.
Yeah. Delivery Man didn't market properly either.
No, it didn't. It definitely played it up more as a comedy where
it's more of a drama.
Yes, that was a definite drama.
I don't like the director at all. But Arnold, he can do whatever he wants. He's got that he's got that power. He's the governor. You want me to ramble more, or is that good for you?
Might as well shoot this dog while it's laying down. All right, everybody, I want to thank you for tuning in this week. If you enjoyed the show, please like the episode and subscribe to the I've Had Better Podcast Network. Also, follow us on Twitter at IHB Podcast and on Facebook. Go like the I've Had Better Podcast page. James, tell the people where to find you.
I'm on Twitter at _Kaiser_Soze or on Facebook as Jimmy Langhouse. And don't forget to check out the website, www.ihbpodcast.com, and like and subscribe to our iTunes.
Yeah, and you can find that by just going on to iTunes and searching I've Had Better Podcast, and it should pop right up for you. As always, I am Dominic Demore. You can follow me on Twitter at Dom Demore. That's DOMDEMORE. Or on Facebook as Dominic Demore. How was your show today, James?
I've had better.
Good night, everybody.